Hey,
Hey.
what's up? I think we texted today on Discord. You
Oh.
remember me?
Yes, I did. But it was yesterday for me. It was like at 2 a.m.
Ah, yes. For me, it's still the same day. I just wanted to say if I have to leave, it's because I live in Israel. So we just had an alarm a few minutes ago, and I won't bother you with the sound of it.
Okay.
Um, my question was regarding what I texted you about the internal politics. In Destiny stream, to my recollection, you said that you believe that the recent events surrounding Sheikh Jarrah and the Jerusalem Day Parade will weaken his political power.
Will weaken
And
whose
I
political
disagree.
power?
Netanyahu and political rights power.
Um, I don't know if it will weaken their power. I condemn the far right in Israel. I condemn
Sure,
Netanyahu. I don't know if it'll necessarily
but
weaken their power. Um,
you said it made him look weak, I
oh,
think.
it made him look weak to the far right. Yes.
Yeah, it is my belief that this event, being the catalyst to this whole thing, uh, will in the end strengthen the Israeli right, because after each conflict, the right gets a boost of followers. So th it is my opinion that even though Netanyahu looked weak in that specific scenario,
Hmm.
in the long run, it will only benefit him,
Okay.
especially regarding the elections. Because right now, Netanyahu lost his mandate, and
Yep.
it's Lapid's and the Israelis' left turn to make to get something up and running. And because Abbas will now not sit with the Israeli right, the Israeli left, because of everything that's happening, right? Uh, I don't know if you know this, but he refuses to negotiate a coalition right now.
Hmm.
So,
So, okay, so what I was talking about during that conversation
mhm,
was that on Jerusalem Day, which of course you
mhm,
probably know is the anniversary of the 1967 war, the
yeah,
victory, there was the Israeli government, Netanyahu's government, barred access to the Temple Mount, which is of extreme
mhm,
religious significance to all Jews, as you know. And that
yeah,
barred of access and the cancellation of the Jerusalem Day March, which would have saw the far right of Israel march through Palestinian of the old through the old city through specifically Palestinian neighborhoods. That was
mhm,
canceled by Netanyahu, and the reason he canceled it is it would have been a blatant escalation on both parts. And so
yes,
he did this as kind of a small bit of backing off. This is the bare minimum that he could have done, but
mhm,
that got a extremely negative response from many of his political allies. Specifically, the person I was referencing in that conversation is I believe it's I am terrible pronunciation, but it's Ben Gvir. It's you say
Ben
it's
Gvir, yes,
yes.
mhm,
Itamar, I believe is the full name.
yes,
He is a member of the
yeah,
Knesset that Netanyahu personally campaigned for. He's extremely far right. I think it's from the Atzma.
yes, he is, yeah,
He's
he is
extremely far
terrible.
right. Yeah, terrible.
Mhm,
And even though Netanyahu campaigned for him to get elected to the Knesset, after he campaigned for this guy to get elected to the Knesset, during Benjamin Netanyahu's barring of access to the Temple Mount for Jews, he responded to that by basically turn around and saying Netanyahu is caving to terrorists and that he was not going to lobby with Netanyahu for the next for about a week in the Knesset, even though Netanyahu was the person who got him elected to the Knesset. And so while I'm not saying that in the long term, it's not going to help Netanyahu because conflict with Hamas, conflict with Islamic Jihad, conflict with Abbas, conflict with Fatah, conflict with any of these organizations is ultimately long term probably going to help the far right's PR because they can use it to demonize Palestinians and demonize the idea of peace and that you need strength in response to this. Um,
sure,
so, with that in mind, I think in the short term, um, that is not helping. right? I think in the short term,
Yeah.
the far right turning in his face and spitting in his face hurts him with a strong part of his base, which is, again, the Israeli far right, and is
Mm-hmm.
going to possibly hurt his maneuverability in the short term for finding the solution to this immediate crisis. Not that I even think he wants to. Long term, I think conflict, of course, helps the Israeli far right. I was just talking about the immediate short term implications of how the far right was responding to his decision on the
Sure,
Temple
sure.
Mount.
I completely agree with you, and I'm glad you cleared that up. There is just another facet which I think we didn't address, and that is the Israeli election. Because right
Yep.
now, the left needs to replace Bibi, and
Mhm.
to do Bibi is Benjamin Netanyahu. I don't know if
Yes,
everybody in the
I'm
crowd knows
familiar.
that. So in order to replace him, they have only 28 days, and right now, the left can't even negotiate because of the war. Because of the conflict. Like, Jews won't sit with Arabs in the Knesset as long as there is a war. This is the status right now. I don't know if this will change, but this in the even short term, this is destructive as well. There is also this thing which you did not address. So
So yeah, anytime this conflict, it's going to make it extremely difficult for there to be any negotiations or any building of a government, or at least a stable government, which has Palestinian Arabs in it. For large
yes,
swaths of the Israeli far right, the idea of even having a government with Palestinian Arabs is a disgusting idea. Like, I don't think Ben is very happy at the proposal. But
no, it's not. But he
he
was
does. He
willing.
doesn't even
He
believe
was willing to
Palestinian
sit.
Arabs have a place in Israel. He doesn't even believe that. This is somebody who,
Who, Ben Gvir?
yeah,
No, he
yes,
wasn't.
yeah,
Yes, he doesn't think.
yeah, no, he's a, damn.
Eh,
Um,
But Bennett, on the other end, which is even slightly far right, or is definitely right. I don't know if you would classify him as far right in Israel, but he was probably willing to sit with the Arabs if this coalition would take place, which is groundbreaking.
it is
Like, I
groundbreaking, and
didn't think this would
I was
happen.
happy to see it. And yeah, that does suck, and it's terrible that the situation has probably led to a falling out when it comes to that. The thing that gets me right now is I don't see any maneuverability towards a solution to this. Because number one, Netanyahu's in a position where the left is trying to form a government, and he has gone through cyclical elections and is in a corruption scandal. And the far right
Mm-hmm.
has just basically spit in his face due to his decision on the Temple Mount. The Jordanian government and the Jordanian king, which is usually seen as by many people as an intermediary that can, due to the large amount of Palestinians that are displaced within Jordan, and due to their
Mm-hmm.
proximity to the state, as could be seen as an intermediary, does not have a good relationship with the government of Bibi. Then you look at the United States, and Joe Biden's basically just repeating the line of, well, we're monitoring the situation. We're keeping a close eye on the situation. We're really looking hard over here. And basically today, Joe Biden said on national television when asked by a reporter, Israel has a right to defend itself. Basically didn't clarify any further. I know that Jake Sullivan has had conversations with some of Netanyahu's government, but I don't see the United States stepping up and using any leverage to make Israel back down. In fact, there was a resolution at the United Nations after an emergency session on whether they were going to put out like a letter of condemnation of like, hey, let's de-escalate the situation. Every single member of, I believe it was the Security Council, voted in favor, except for the United States. 14 out of 15
Of
votes.
course.
I don't see any movement here. And so in the short term, what I was basically trying to get at with that statement on the Israeli far right is that I just don't see any solution incoming. I don't see a way out outside of escalation. I don't see Bibi's government, which is or any government currently in Israel, um, accepting de-escalation with the large amount of rockets that are being shot over. I don't see Hamas accepting any compromise when it comes to how people are being treated outside of the mosque, or when it comes to we'll call them evictions because that's what the Israeli
Yes,
government's
yes.
calling them. But I obviously the dialogue around what they should be called, I'll just call them forced evictions for now. They're not going to compromise on that. So basically, what I'm saying, what I was trying to get at with the Destiny conversation when he asked me what's my solution is I don't really have a solution. that I think is feasible. I have ideas of what I would do, but I don't have an opportunity to be in that position whatsoever.
It feels like every choice is choosing the lesser evil, and each evil is horrible. You know,
Yeah.
no single course of action is actually good. It's all a shit show.
Yeah.
Um, that's it. But thanks for clearing that up. I really appreciate the conversation.
No problem. Do you so yeah, I guess it might have been just a mistranslation. I'm not saying that that conflict is going to benefit the Israeli left. Just that the immediate decision by Benjamin Netanyahu to close off access to the Temple Mount is going to hurt the Israeli far right's opinion of him in such a divisive atmosphere.
I don't think it was a mistranslation. I just think it was like me wanting to put some more context around the issue.
Okay.
You only showed the short term, and I wanted to talk
Okay.
about the long term. And now that I see you absolutely am familiar with it, so that's nice.
Wonderful.
I'm glad.
Happy to hear it.
Have a great day.
You have a great day too. Oh, by the way, was there anything else that I said that might have been incorrect? I know my pronunciations have been widely off, but besides that, has there
No,
been?
the pronunciations are fine. Even Israelis don't pronunciate things right. But I think there was, but I just don't recall it, and I don't want to embarrass myself in a call. So if I have something else, I'll jump in a call maybe tomorrow or whenever you stream.
Okay, thank you. You have a blessed day. Okay.
Yeah, you stay safe.
Stay safe.